Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the conclusion and review of our lessons about the Big Six. Let's dig in. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the conclusion of our lesson about the Big Six and how to approach research. Let's get started. So when we started, I set out the purpose of the lesson for you, and I want to just review that. We wanted you to learn what the Big Six was and how it can provide a framework for you for thinking about research and breaking that research down into tasks and steps, seeing how those work together, and learning about some helpful resources that could help you as you approach any research that you might do, whether it's in school or whether it is in your general life. So I have a handout for you, and each of the tasks and steps from the Big Six are outlined on it. And for each task, you have a set of questions that might be helpful for you to ask yourself as you go through that, as you approach that part of your research. And a resource that is actually the same resource from the blend space part of the lesson. So that is on the blend space, and your teacher will have a copy of that. So feel free to use that throughout your process and add your own questions. So going back through the steps, the first step is where you define your task. This is where you ask yourself really important foundational questions about what you're going to be doing it and how you should approach it. So think about what your final product is going to be, if it's going to be a project or a paper. Examine what you know or what you think about that topic already and what you want to know, what you want to learn. And through this process, ultimately, you will be developing your research question. One of the things I like to tell students is that your research question also might change as you go back through your process. So be sure that you keep your research question in mind and know that you can adapt and change it as you go along. So step two. Step two is where you work on your information seeking strategies. This is a really important step because you can think about what sources can you use, and it's important to brainstorm as many sources as possible, and where's going to be the best places to find that. What will be the best place to find that information? What kind of search strategies can you use? As you do your background reading, you should pick up key terms and think about synonyms for those terms and think about how you can put them together to do this part of your research. And you will add to that as you go along in your research process. Step three is locating and accessing information. This is where you'll actually find physical resources like books and magazines, digital resources, and where you can identify human resources that you can use. So if you know someone who's an expert in your field, how can you set up an interview? Who can help you with that? How are you going to get all the resources that you need? Step four is actually using the information, taking time to think about how you read, especially if those sources are more advanced sources, how to take notes, annotating, highlighting, keeping track of them so you can cite them, and how you organize those as you go through your process so you don't lose them. So that's a really important, it's really important to keep this step in mind, how you're going to use this information as you go through your process. Step five is synthesis. This is where you think about what did you learn and how can you really show what you learned in a very clear way with your teacher and your classmates and your audience, whatever your audience is. And here you think about, are you being clear about what you found, and really examining whether your learning is clear and concise. Finally, the sixth step is your evaluation of your own process. So yes, you want to review the product and the successes along the way, not just finishing the paper or the project, but what challenges did you find? What was difficult for you? What did you have to learn as you went along? You need to identify very specific things that you could change or improve or learn how to do better in your research practice the next time you have a project, because we know in our IB curriculum you will have research throughout your coursework. So this is important, and it helps you become, this is a key element really, to think about and write down what went well for you, but also where did you have problems, where did those issues arise, and how can you handle them better in the future to make research less stressful for you and more successful. So now that we've covered Big 6 completely, you now have a roadmap for your research. It is both process and its skills, and we know that each of the tasks and the steps along the way, they're interconnected with each other. They kind of happen together sometimes, and it's important to recognize those parts so you realize what part of the process you're in and how you can move forward. Take notes throughout this process. That will help you with your reflection and stay organized. And most importantly, if you find yourself stuck, please ask the people that can help you. Come down and find me in the library. Ask your teacher. We're so happy to help you move on and learn and grow as researchers. So know that we're here for you and we want you to be successful. Use the resources that you have, and we look forward to finishing up with a very successful research project with you.